This type of conversation, this type of question is exactly what this channel is about. Listen to this comment. Gabriel, please make a video on how to pace myself in a fight. My conditioning is good, but because of me not able to pace myself, I get tired. Please help. I'm gonna have my first Muay Thai amateur fight next month. We are absolutely gonna be covering that right now, how to pace yourself. Because just the other day, I did a video talking about how you can get fantastic cardio. But the reality is, everybody can get exhausted. Everybody can get tired. If you treat the duration of a fight like a sprint, you're gonna gas. It might be your heart, it might be your arms and legs feeling like they've filled up with lactic acid and you're not able to hold the hands up or you can't kick anymore. Something is gonna happen. So learning to pace yourself is integral to being able to keep pace in the fight and obviously fatigue your opponent more than you're getting fatigued, but at the same time, not just easing back and letting them do exactly what they want. So we are going to be looking at one of my best fights in terms of accomplishments, and that is my first Glory world title victory, where I was facing an opponent who loved to keep the pace of the fight very fast, but very often did not have the aptitude to pace himself correctly. And I was able to use this to my advantage. So we're gonna watch this together. We're gonna focus on, it was a 5-round fight, but we're gonna eliminate round number 1 and round number 5 and focus on those middle rounds. And I'm sure you've already noticed that I got Bob back there and he is sporting my brand new jersey, Strike Ready from Gabriel Varga. We also have a lovely pair of shorts, which are just fantastic. These are not going to be available all the time. They're going to run out of stock fairly quick. So make sure you jump on that. I'll throw a link down below to that fabulous apparel. Now here we go. Here we go into this fight. All right, round number 2. You can see Amrani coming right out, just bombing right away. What do I do in that instance when I'm wanting to take the break, but I don't want to just necessarily stand there and bang with him, right? I don't just want to go head to head with somebody who hits so crazy hard. I mean, this guy took out Liam Harrison like that in the first round when they met in Glory. So if you notice there, I would throw and then I'd back up. I'd throw and then I'd back up. This forces him to continually be trying to chase me down and not really able to sit down on his punches the same way, as opposed to just obliging him and just making life very simple, just standing in front of him. So taking those steps back gives you the break, but makes your opponent have to chase. All right, continuing on, maintaining that long range. One of the big keys that you're gonna find in terms of understanding what pace you can keep and how to pace yourself is knowing exactly what you're capable of in pad work. Be very aware of whether you're gassing out in pads or whether you're, just got energy for days. That is so very important. Now I can see Amrani is just bombing. I'm trying to make him miss, taking a few shots to the body there in the process, but really, one of the massive things which you will learn about pacing yourself is knowing when to take breaks. That is fundamental, because as I go on the attack, as I'm throwing down, it does take a lot of energy. Now, I don't know if you're putting out 50% energy, sort of output when you're bombing your offense, or if it's more like 100. That's very dependent on you. But when you think about your defense, you should not be putting in 50, 60, 70% energy output. You should be able to do your recovery. And that is something which I preached. I taught so much when we did the defense course, which is available for anybody who has not taken it yet. You can head over to Strike Ready Combat or strikereadycombat.com. And I was talking in that about how you have to learn to take the breaks during defense. Because if you're too stiff, you're too rigid, you're not breathing properly, you're going to fatigue so much during defense. And then obviously you're fatiguing during offense. And then when do you take your breaks? Right? Maybe when you're bouncing around, but still a lot of people even struggle there. Now, even in these little breaks there where the ref is in between you guys, you've got to be recovering. You've got to be doing it and finding these tiny little holes. So let's just look at like an energy output right now in terms of how much effort I'm putting in. Because if I was to sort of scale, okay, like 10%, that's a 30%, that's a 70%. Oh, there's 100% for a moment. It might help you guys gauge exactly what is happening as opposed to just being like, oh, I don't really think about energy output, but that is very important. So let's just watch here. Stepping back, nice and relaxed, probably like 10%. That knee was probably like a 50% effort thing. Catching and having somebody drag you down, that's a little bit more, but you could see I didn't fight it. I knew it was a lost cause, so I kind of let it go. Right in there when we're doing those exchanges, that's probably like an 80% output. Not bombing too hard. Again, the round kick, you don't see like really anything I'm throwing right now is not close to 100%. Now there will come times where you know you have somebody hurt or you see an opening and you launch in your hardest shot, but to do that consistently, especially when so few shots land clean. Like you don't just need to even land clean, you need to land clean to the right section of the head. So just to throw and hope that it does damage, to me in terms of pacing is very naive. So it's something you have to play with yourself. Of course, you have to figure out and monitor how you do in pad work, how you do in sparring, but these are all keys which can help you. Okay, what are we looking at? Nice little catch there, not too much effort in it. And just see how in that little moment there where we were tight, I kind of buried my head in. I buried my head close because the tighter you can get your head to somebody else in those moments where the bodies are tight, the less chance they have of actually landing anything damaging. Very hard to land a shot here. That's why I don't hold pads, or people don't hold pads for me right here. You're kind of like, I can't reach it. So being able to jam when you get very close, jam that distance, allows you to rest and recover more. And knowing that, and then seeing me do it in those small moments, that's exactly why I'm taking advantage of an extra break by just burying my head a little bit deeper. Now, in all honesty, there are sometimes downsides to that in the sense you get clashes, head clashes, but those are superficial and not actually really damaging in terms of me leaving feeling wobbled. Now here I want to focus on a little mistake. You can see I get into this sort of battle right there where I'm having to do a little bit of pushing. I'm having to create distance, and that in itself is overly exhausting. But you also just saw when my hands were down, I was just able to create a tiny bit of space. Just a little lean back. The shoulder kind of pops in front. I lean my head back and I know he's not landing there. And again, during that moment, I can go, whew, there's the break for me. Now I want to rewind here. See how we get into this break and both of us have dropped our arms? We're dropping our arms in the break because that is a recovery method. That is controlling the output, which we have. And it's something smart to do. Whenever you get that opportunity to drop those arms and take that break, even right there with that little duck, right? I just know something's coming. There are other ways to deal with that, but that is a lazy way. That was a lazy way for me to deal with that big looping hand. I just kind of go, huh, and get my head out of the way so he misses. When somebody misses as opposed to hit you, that makes it so much easier for me to control my energy output, but him to be exhausted. And here we go, moving into round 3. Like, I don't look that tired. At this point, neither does he, I guess. In all fairness, he's recovered fairly well. I think it's at the end of this round where he really starts to huff and puff, and he's just so broken down and exhausted. But launching the shots, same strategy as earlier in the fight. I throw, see, I back up. And then I throw, I back up, I angle. Whenever I'm backing up, whenever I'm angling, I am recovering. I'm taking that break, letting myself rest, making him work. Wild shots, nothing landing, and that is exactly what we want. No damage, no big concerns about anything dramatic happening. And again, still being able to go, okay, I have my reserves for when it's my time to start pushing. Because obviously, at this point in the fight, yeah, he's winning this round. Even if he hasn't landed anything significant, the pace at which he's going is landing in the eyes of the judges, at least. But I will have those reserves because I'm taking those steps and I'm backing up. But if there's anything, look at that, like just beautiful distance control, just lean back as I mentioned before, and he overthrew so much. He's trying so hard that one punch can just exhaust you. And again, I'm just taking my time, keeping myself safe. And let's just note the hand positioning. There's a nice takedown there. Let's note my hand positioning in terms of pacing yourself. So let's see where my hands are. They're down right now because I'm from outside that range. Now again, they're just down here because I'm outside of that threatening range. Just outside it. We get a little closer, they come a little higher. As soon as we back up to here, if there's a threat, my hands come up, because maintaining my hands up high all the time is not me pacing myself in terms of shoulder fatigue even. I keep them high, I drop them when I need to. I move back when it's necessary. We get to the clench here. Drop the arms, take a break. Don't have to continue to hold my hands up and bounce. Just go flat-footed. And really, one of the additional elements is the breathing control. Now, if you haven't done breath work before, you haven't trained the breath work, one of the very interesting things about this form of training is panic. When you start to do something like 20 seconds of jumping jacks holding your breath, and then you only get 2 breaths in between to recover, and then you do another 20 seconds of jumping jacks holding your breath, you start to get panicked. You start to get scared. And it's similar to in a sparring round or a fight when that, oh my God, I'm exhausted situation happens. So you can see here I'm walking back. My breath looks controlled. That was a hard round for sure. Look at him, he's taking those deep chest breaths, mouth wide open. Very, very different. So back to what I was talking about, the breath work, the breath control. When you don't get to breathe regular, which is why many people talk about swimming being so beneficial, but that is a training method which I have added over the past 5 or 6 years. I'm going to put a link up there because I have a video you can follow along with, which will teach you not to panic when those heavier breathing start to happen. You learn to take the rest and recover. Light footwork there. See, I go on the attack, I hurt him, but not rushing it, not throwing everything in because I don't know how damaged he is. Getting after those body shots as we get later in the fight. Take the pauses too. Look at the pause. I don't stay offense. Hit a shot, I'm on a break. Right there, I'm on a break. A little run to the side just to recover, to regain my distance. Whenever I'm at the long range, which I'm trying to maintain there, you can see, as soon as I hit, I'm taking a breath. Ooh, that was a good shot from him there though. Got a little too complacent. Whipping those shots still. He's hunting. Nice low kick. And one of the other elements to pacing yourself is what shots for you feel the most fatiguing. Know this about yourself. Know that, oh, okay, head kicks or body round kicks are really tiring. Some people, they love them and they find throwing hands much more fatiguing. Flying knees and stuff for me, they don't feel that fatiguing because I feel so safe when I throw them. I'm not worried about people countering because I achieve a pretty good height. So I can throw those and be like, yeah, I'm jumping, but I'm not overly tense. And because of that, I can stay more relaxed and maintain that pace of, yeah, I can throw a flying knee every 20 seconds if I wanted. So know your techniques, know what exactly is going to fatigue you versus not fatigue you. How are you going to create distance or slow the pace of the fight if necessary? Is it going to be footwork? But if footwork tires you out, you maybe have calves that cramp a lot, then maybe you go to, oh, I'm going to use a teep. Or maybe I'm going to become somebody who shells really tight and throws big counters. Good attack there. He's wobbled. Now, in all fairness, I'm not a big KO fighter. I'm not somebody who hunts for the KO. And because of that, I don't often throw down. But you're going to see right here when I actually do start to go, okay, I'm going to unload at the end of the fight or the end of the round. Big shots, that's me throwing hard, mostly getting after the body in a lot of those. Flying knee there. And still, no big deal. Still got energy to go. Not heading back to the corner, taking those massive deep breaths. So pacing. It is an interesting, complicated conversation that there's no one sort of answer for. But take everything I said today and most importantly, recognize for yourself how you prefer to take breaks. Is it in the middle of defense? Is it with footwork? Is it you falling to the clinch and holding your opponent while you breathe? Everybody has their preferred method, but you gauge how much you can output based on how hard you hit pads and what you're used to. And on top of that, of course, don't be lazy. Don't just go into the fight thinking, oh, okay, cardio won't be a factor. Of course, cardio always is a factor. Get good cardio, know how to pace yourself, and then from there, you can break down your opponent in terms of who can outperform the other with lung capacity. That doesn't mean you're going to win the fight, but you're much better off being the person who has more ability to continue going and going and going. And especially when we look at round 1, energy output versus round 3. If one person crashes and the other person only came down to about here in what they can give in those final rounds, well, one person is going to have that clear advantage. And you want to be the person up top, not the person fading away. Absolutely try my breath work. Try my sprints on the soccer field, so very important. That video I put out the other day, that is great as well for just things you can do after class, you know, put in that extra % or 2, a little bit more than everybody else is doing. And of course, guys, as I always say, just train hard. Train hard and understand your limits, and that will help you pace yourself so much better. Thanks for joining. I will see you back here soon for another video.